Hello, everybody. Welcome to Therapeutic Yoga today. We are going to do an entire yoga class today focusing on the hamstrings. So what is that going to entail for us? Well, let's just talk for a very quick second about the hamstrings, what the most common issues with the hamstrings are, and then we'll get started. So your hamstrings, for those of you that don't know where they are, they run the backside of your leg from your pelvis down to below your knee. Now, when we talk about hamstrings, we actually have hamstrings on the outer side of our leg and we have hamstrings on the inner side of our leg. And just like two tracks along a train, smack dab in the middle of those two lines of hamstrings is one of the most dysfunctional things we have in our lower half of our body, and that's the sciatic nerve. And so oftentimes there isn't a way to do yoga of the hamstrings without focusing at least a little bit on yoga of the sciatic nerve. So today's class is focusing on the hamstrings, but we will definitely be talking about that sciatic nerve. So now, what are the key issues that we generally have with the hamstrings? Well, for class today, you're going to need a yoga mat, a yoga strap or some sort of strap of some sort, and a chair. And then as you sit down in the chair, that is problem number one with the hamstrings. So we unevenly put compression on those muscles all day long when we sit. So doing something as simple as slumping backwards or crossing a leg or turning your legs out or bringing your legs together puts unequal compression on those muscles. As they get flattened and compressed, they stop moving well. And so as they stop moving as well and gliding and sliding, then they begin to cause problems through the back of our leg because of the sciatic nerve, also through the pelvis where they attach, sometimes with the knee, but most importantly, usually with the low back. So how we sit with those hamstrings is one of the biggest problems that we have with it. Another significant problem with the hamstrings is related to how much they fire. And what I mean by that is the amount of activity of the muscles related to the other muscles around them. Hamstring dominance is a pretty significant problem with individuals, definitely as we age, and a lot of times a little bit more in men than female because of the direction and the shape of the pelvis. But we should have gluteal muscles and hamstring muscles that are equally performing in function, but unfortunately, a lot of times when these hamstring muscles kind of lose a little bit of movement or they get a little bit tight, they start firing and shooting off more than they should, and they try to outperform the gluteals, and it becomes a problem with what is called motor control in your body. Meaning when the gluteals should be functioning, the hamstrings are trying to do the job. So we're going to do a couple of things today to try to get our gluteals and our hamstrings to fire so that your brain can kind of get a little tiny wake-up call on what muscles you've got back there, not just the hamstrings. So those are the key things we're going to be working on today. So mobility of the hamstring, length of the hamstring, and the firing of the hamstrings relative to the gluteal muscles. Before we get started in our hamstring class today, I thought it'd be nice to do a breath awareness exercise. So we oftentimes do exercises where we're counting our breath or using a different pattern of breathing relative to our body. Well, today we're not going to do that. What I want you to do right now is to sit back in your chair, relax, don't turn on your TV or anything like that, but just sit back and relax, lean back in your chair, use your chair as a supportive device, and then just gently take your hands and interlace your fingers in front of you. Rest them down near your belly, your pelvis, maybe have the tops of your hands resting on your pelvis. Check in that you can, in fact, keep your feet flat on the floor. If your chair is so high that you cannot get your feet flat on the floor, maybe put a pillow behind you or something like that to change the depth of your chair. And then don't focus so much on alignment now. Just gently allow yourself, though, to kind of lengthen your neck a little bit, settle your chin, and then relax your shoulders downward. And then rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And then all we're going to do is just become aware of our breath today. And so what I want you to do as you're sitting there, no deep inhales or exhales. Literally just sit still. Can you sit still enough that you can focus on your inhale? When you inhale, can you either feel the air coming up into your nostrils? Can you feel the front of your chest rising, or can you maybe feel your belly gently expanding on the outside or the pinky area of your hands? Just let yourself focus on one thing, simply that I am breathing in. Now that you're doing that, let's see how anxious you are today. So let's check in with the length of that breath inward. And so what I want you to do is, as you're focusing on your breathing in, try to not let your mind get too distracted, but see how long it takes you to count your inhale. So does it take you a count of one? Maybe a one and? Are you really relaxed? Maybe it's a 1 and 2. Just take a moment to feel where your inhale is and be still enough and aware enough to be able to see how long that inhale takes to happen. Now completely switch gears. So stop thinking about your inhale and completely take your focus now to your exhale. So as you're sitting there, being still, not talking, not being distracted by sounds around you other than my voice, start to feel and become aware of your exhale. So how do you feel your exhale? Do you feel your belly drop inward? Do you maybe just feel your chest drop, or do you feel more pressure against the back of a chair? Do you feel the air coming out your nostrils? Be still. See where you feel that exhale. Now, keeping your focus and your awareness on your exhale, start to count it. Just like you counted your inhale. You count that exhale. How long does it take that air to come out of your body? It's a very autonomic practice. You're not controlling it if you're just being aware of it. But your natural breath, how long does it take? If we look at the science of breathing, if your inhale and your exhale are equal to one another, your body's in a state of balance. If your exhale takes a little bit longer than your inhale, your body is in fact parasympathetic mode and relaxed. Contrary, and unfortunately, if your exhale's even faster than your inhale. Your body is stressed and anxious and in sympathetic mode. So now that you've done that and you've been aware of your breath, let's take these last 4 to 5 breaths to intentionally work on lengthening that exhale. Give yourself a moment to intentionally take your breath into parasympathetic and relaxation mode. And slowly open your eyes and take your hands and start to give them nice big squeezes into one another. Kind of waken those up. You know, sometimes a good 5 minutes of mindfulness and meditation is all it takes to just bring us down, right? And that's where we are now. Now, why would I start a hamstring class with something as simple as breath awareness? Well, if you came to this class today and you're already on edge, you're tense, you're worried, you're stressed, you're anxious, there is no way that you're going to get really good play and release through your hamstring muscles. But if we can start and just kind of center ourselves, which is exactly what we did, you have the potential of making some really good gains today with your hamstrings. All right, with that said, let's get started. So take yourself out to the front half of your chair. Now I'm going to turn my chair to the side for this particular exercise so that you'll be able to see what I'm doing and match it. And we're going to be doing it 3 times today. So if you want to watch the first, by all means, feel free. But by the second and the third, I sure do hope that you are joining me and doing the same thing that I'm doing. So now that you're out to the outer half of the chair, check in that you can see that your knees are stacked directly over the arches of your feet and that your knees are about hip distance. So if you were to take your 2 fists between your knee, give or take, that's your hip distance. Now that you're in that position, allow yourself to hinge from your hips and drop your elbows downward onto your upper thighs, also known as the toilet bowl position, if you must. And then take your hands, and you can either interlace your hands one way or the other way. But let's make sure that we're doing something important for our neck and our nervous system while we're working on our hamstrings today. So what I want you to do with your neck is I want you to really elongate the back of your neck. Allow yourself to settle your chin into your throat and feel that engagement between your shoulder blades being spread apart as you push your elbows down into your knees. Now, you've got a nice long spine in this position. If your hips and your glutes are really tight, your pelvis might be a little bit rotated backward. Just do the best you can at pulling your belly forward between your thighs. All right, so now here's what we're going to do for our hamstring release today. You're going to take an inhale and come up so that all of the weight is on your feet. This is a squat, essentially, chair pose in yoga. We're going to take an inhale here, and then as we exhale, we're going to move nothing but to straighten our knees and look back at the seat of our chair. Inhale, let the knees bend. Exhale, really, really slowly straighten those knees. Keep that neck long, chin tucked, gaze back. And inhale, fall down into your squat, and exhale, and exhale, and exhale. One more breath, inhaling here, and exhaling, and exhaling, and exhaling. Inhale, slowly sit back down in the chair. And then as you exhale, hands onto the thighs, bring yourself back up into a seated position. The number one thing you could do for your hamstrings ever is what we just did. So it starts to lengthen the hamstring, but it also spreads the hamstring side to side. So it gives that sciatic nerve a little bit of stretch. It strengthens your quadriceps, which helps the hamstrings be less dominant. So it's a 1, 2, 3 punch for your hamstrings, all in one exercise, all in 4 simple breaths. All right, let's do exactly the same thing one more time. So sitting on the edge of your chair, front half of it, feet flat, knees over the arches of your feet, knees hip distance apart, hinge at your hips. See if you can get that belly into your thigh area so that your back is nice and straight. Drop those elbows down onto the tops of the thighs. Interlace your hands, maybe go crazy in your brain right now and interlace them the opposite way of the first time. I like to do that, so I'm always training my brain. Now we got to get some elongation through that thoracic spine and neck. So lengthen the back of the neck, settle the chin, and really kind of spread those shoulder blades apart. Now, as you're gazing into that position, take that inhale and push yourself forward onto your legs. Full on glute and quad activity here. Exhaling here. Now let's go through this for 3 or 4 great breaths. So take an inhale here. Exhale, really straighten those knees. Gaze back at the seat of your chair. Inhale, squatting down, chair pose. Exhale, exhale. See how much you can exhale as you look straight back at that chair. Inhaling. Exhaling. One more time, inhaling and exhaling. Inhale, slowly squat down, place your bottom back on the seat, hands onto the thighs, push yourself back up. Now, every sequential time you do that, you're gaining more length, you're gaining more play, you're letting those hamstrings realize they are not the dominant muscle of the backside of your body. So of course, we're going to do it a 3rd time today. Now, the 3rd time, if you have tight hamstrings and your legs were just shaken up a storm because your quadriceps struggled with that, do the exact same thing we just did. For those of you that are like, I want more of a challenge today, then we're going to progress the exercise to bringing the hands downward towards the floor. With that said, if your hamstrings, your glutes, or your back are tight, that you don't think your hands are going to reach the floor, then repeat what we did time 1 and time 2. All right, here we go. Hips to the front half of the chair, knees hip distance, ankles over the arches of the feet. Hinge your body weight forward, bring that belly between the thighs, elbows come down onto the tops of the thighs, interlace the hands however you want, lengthen the neck, settle that chin, spread those shoulder blades so you have engagement down into your elbows. All right, take the inhale, push yourself up into chair pose. And just allow yourself to have an exhale here. Now, everyone, stay where you are if you meet the criteria of wanting to stay with tight hamstrings. For those of you that are a little bit looser, take one inhale here, and then on the exhale, drop your chest down between your knees, bring your hands down towards the floor, keep that neck long, gaze back at that chair. All right, take your inhale, bend your knees. Exhale, straightening the knees into that forward fold or functional hamstring release. Inhaling, chair pose, sitting back. Exhaling, straightening the knees. 2 more. Inhaling. Exhaling. And 1 more time. Inhaling and exhaling. Slowly inhaling, sitting yourself back on the chair, hands on those thighs, pushing yourself all the way back up. And we are done with our functional releasing, sitting in a chair today. So now what I would like you to do is take your chair, move it out of the way, and then meet me down on your mat in seated position. So sitting upright with your legs crossed in front of you. All right, I see that we are now in a seated position on our mat. Now, don't worry about having something to have your pelvis up on. If you've got tight hips, well, Welcome to a hamstring class today. But we are going to do some work of our hamstrings in a seated position. So what I would like you to do is to begin with taking your right leg straight out away from your hip, and then taking your left foot and placing it into your inner thigh. Now, depending on where you are on your mat right now, place your hands onto your pelvis and see where your pelvis is. My pelvis right now is pointed slightly angled forward. Where we want our pelvis to point and face towards is our right big toe. So what you're going to do is to take the right leg and slide the leg backwards until finally that right big toe and that pelvis are all in the exact same alignment. So that way we're going to be working equally on the inside and the outside of our hamstrings. Now, in this position, gently let your leg lay straight for a second. If you are at home with me and you point your toes up and you already feel tension in the back of your leg, ladies and gentlemen, you have tension and problems with your sciatic nerve. So relax your foot and bend your knee. Shorten the sciatic nerve so that you're going to be able to get some length of the hamstrings where the muscles are without putting too much tension onto the sciatic nerve. So this is the position you will be in if you have really tight hamstrings. If you also have tension on your sciatic nerve. Now, you can place a block here, you can place a pillow here, but do something so that your leg is not straight. It's about the hamstring length with this particular exercise, not about putting so much force and tension on the sciatic nerve that you hate me later today. So grab your strap, take your strap and kind of wrap it around the balls of your feet so that you can gently pull the ball of your ankle back upward and your toes are pointed up toward your head. Now, please check in that your pelvis is entirely facing that right big toe. You can wrap your hands around your strap if you like, completely up to you. But sit nice and tall, pull your shoulder blades back and down, lengthen your neck, settle your chin. All right, now here's our exercise. Take a nice deep inhale, and then on the exhale, biceps, your arms, pull yourself forward, hinging only at your hip. So you will not go far, but you will feel a deep pull and stretch in the upper part of your the back of your leg. Sorry, guys. Hold that position here. Take a nice deep inhale. Try to pull your belly a little bit more forward. There's your hamstrings, maybe even some beautiful stretch on your sciatic nerve. Now keep those biceps engaged, keep those shoulder blades back and down, lengthen the neck, settle the chin. Can you gaze at that big toe? Can you give me a nice deep, deep, deep inhale into your belly? Can you maybe even feel that all the way down to your mat? And then as you exhale, pull those biceps a little bit more. Keep that spine nice and tall. One last breath. Deep inhale here. And exhale as you keep that pull. And then slowly relax. Now, as you slowly relax, take the strap away from the leg. Point the toes away for a moment. Give the sciatic nerve some break. And as you point the toes away, what I want you to do is just to allow yourself to sit up tight, nice and straight. And then bring the toes up towards your head and slump down. Point the toes away, sit up nice and straight. Point the toes towards you and slump down a little bit. One more time. Point the toes away, sit up nice and straight, and then point the toes towards you and slump all the way down. And then slowly bring that right leg in. And let's do that all over again on the opposite side. Now, why did we do a little bit of pelvic movement and foot movement at the end there? Well, if you didn't listen to me and you didn't support your knee or your knee wasn't bent, you might have put a lot of tension on your sciatic nerve, which can affect your back and your buttock. So that last little thing we did there was just a little bit of what's called flossing, like flossing your teeth. We just flossed that sciatic nerve through all of the areas that it tends to get a little entrapped in our low back and our pelvis. All right, guys, now let's get our alignment correct on this left side. So left leg is out straight to the side, right foot is into the left thigh. Now, check where your pelvis is. Once again, my pelvis is up and forward, not where it needs to be if I'm going to equally lengthen my hamstrings. So all I'm going to do is take my left leg and pull my pelvis and my left leg back until all of a sudden my pelvis is pointed towards my left foot. Now that I'm there, I'm going to take my strap around the ball of my toes on the left foot. In this position, same as we did on the opposite side, maybe just wrap the straps around. You're using biceps here to get length of your hamstrings. I know that sounds weird, but that's in fact what you're doing if you keep your spine nice and tall and your core engaged. So in this position, with the strap where it needs to be and the toes up, do that little check-in that you did on the right side. Are you feeling nothing but calf stretching right now or tension behind your knee? Because if that's the case, bend your knee, put some support underneath it, because your leg being straight is way too much for your hamstrings and sciatic nerve to be able to handle. All right, body nice and tall, shoulder blades back and down, neck long, chin tucked in this position. Take a nice deep inhale, and then on the exhale, bend at the hips, use those biceps and pull yourself forward. Allow the belly to really be coming towards the left thigh. So take another deep inhale, and then on that exhale, can you pull your belly forward anymore? All right, engage through that left hamstring. So you should be feeling it the back side of your leg, but predominantly above the knee, not anything behind the knee or in the calf, unless you've got some sciatic nerve tension. And if that's the case, some tension off your knee. Let's do 2 deep breaths here. So deep inhale in. Can you breathe all the way to the mat? And then slowly exhaling out. Gaze at that big toe if you can. One more time here. Nice deep inhale in. And slowly exhaling out. You've got it. Then release the tension of the strap. Take the strap, place it beside you. We're going to be using it when we lay down. So we're not done with that strap yet, but stay where you are. And then let's work on that little bit of flossing for that sciatic nerve. So just take a moment here to kind of point your toes away, arch your back, pull your belly forward, and then point your toes up and then slump yourself back. Let's do that again. Point your toes away, arch your back, point your toes up towards your head, slump back. One more time, guys. Point your toes away, arch through your back, and then point your toes toward your head and slump back. Beautiful job. Now, make your way onto your hands and knees. Let's go through some cat-cows. So alignment for quadruped or tabletop position, take those hands between those knees, get that hip distance, stack the hips directly on top of the knees and look straight back. And you make sure that your feet and your heels line up with your knees. Walk your hands forward for me. Have it so that you have the position that your wrists and your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Index fingers and thumbs, spread them. Have the index fingers going straight in front of you. Check in that it does look like that your wrists are about shoulder width apart. And then those outer 3 fingers, just kind of spread them out. Now take a moment here to really push into the knuckle of your index finger and into the knuckle of your thumb. It's going to be really important in a little bit because we are going to be working downward dog. If you're not pushing in the right positioning of your hand, you're going to be overusing your shoulders and your neck. So just take a moment to push those index fingers and thumbs down so you can really appreciate what is the weight bearing component of my hand. So there should be no weight through your pinky and your 4th and your 3rd knuckles, all index and thumb. All right, let's go through some cat-cows here. So take an inhale, belly drops down, tailbone lifts, shoulder blades back, lift the front of that chest, lengthen that neck and look upward. And then as you exhale, pull that belly up and in, tuck that tailbone, spread the shoulder blades, lengthen the back of the neck, chin to chest, gaze into that belly button. Inhaling, sink the belly, lift the tailbone, shoulder blades back and down, lengthen the front of that neck and look upward. And exhale, pull that belly up and in, really tuck that tailbone under, spread the shoulder blades, really lengthen that neck, chin into that chest and gaze inward. One more time. Inhale, sinking belly, lifting tailbone, shoulder blades back and down, lengthening neck and looking upwards. And exhaling, pulling belly up and in, tucking tailbone, spreading shoulder blades, lengthening neck, chin to chest, gaze inward. That is a lot of words to say, by the way. Now, slowly sit yourself back into child's pose. Keep your hands right where they are. So don't let your elbows relax yet. Settle your sit bones towards your heels. Use your hands today to not even look. So lengthen your neck, settle your chin, gaze at your knees, and just feel. What does it feel like to push into my index finger, the knuckle of my index finger, and my thumb? You should feel all of that engagement up your arms, up into your trunk. So I really want you to feel that position for a moment before we relax. And then drop your elbows down, maybe bring them a little closer to your knees, settle the crown of your head to the floor. Gaze straight back between your feet. Make sure that your little toes and your big toes are all going straight behind you and you haven't turned your feet inward because of tight ankles. And then let yourself be here for a moment. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. And one more time, nice deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. Then slowly bringing yourself back up into hands and knees and really checking in with your alignment here. So we are moving on to playing with downward dog. Now, if you are weak through your quadricep muscles, or you have a lot of shoulder impingement issues or pain in your shoulders, and you're like, you know what? Downward dog is just not for me, then stay where you are in tabletop position and just focus on the pushing through the arms like we did in the position of child's pose that we were just in. But give downward dog a try. Challenge your body. You might be surprised at what you're capable of doing. So index fingers forward, thumbs inward, elbows and wrists directly underneath those shoulders, hands shoulder width apart. Can you please check in that your hips and knees are stacked right now? In this position, just turn your toes under. Now, rock yourself forward and backward. Feel the weight into your hands. Feel the weight into the toes. Nice little plantar fascia stretch there. Weight into the hands. Weight into the toes. So this is all that downward dog is about, ladies and gentlemen. The problem is that we make it more about muscles that you're not using right now. So come back to the center position. Let's get some strength through those legs. So push into the index fingers and the thumbs. Take an inhale and lift your knees off of the mat. Lift your knees off the mat. Now, take a nice deep inhale. As you exhale, begin to straighten your knees as you gaze back, just like you did when you did that chair release. Push into the index fingers and the thumbs. Take a nice deep inhale here. And now push back into the feet and start to lower the heels to the floor. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Take your belly button and pull your belly button towards your thighs. Push the heels down. Can you look at your feet and make sure your feet line up with the outside of your mat? All right, one breath here. Deep inhale in and exhaling out. Then inhale, bend your knees. Line your knees up with your hips and exhale, drop down to table pose. Curl the toes and flatten the feet. Uncurl the toes. Take a deep inhale here and exhale back to child's pose. You did it. So downward dog, really excellent exercise to work on lengthening through the hamstrings, strengthening through the legs, getting that balance between the glutes and the hamstrings. But you got to know how to do it efficiently, and that's what we did today. So stay here in child's pose. Give me a nice deep inhale into your belly, and then exhaling out. One more time, deep inhale in, and exhaling out. Beautiful. Now just come up for a second and take your hands and just move your hands forward and backward a few times through your wrists. We have one more downward dog of our day before we make it down on our back. So I want you to make sure that these wrists are ready for it. Maybe do some opening and closing through your hands. A lot of us, if our wrists are weak and our forearms are weak, downward dog is a bit of a challenge, but I want you to do what you can without causing pain. All right, make your way up into hands and knees. Again, hips on top of those knees, hip distance apart for the knees, gaze back at the feet, walk your hands forward, elbows and wrists underneath the shoulders, fingers, index fingers forward, thumbs inward, outer three fingers touching. Now, guys, it's all about the weight bearing of the hands. That is what makes a successful downward dog. So engage through the knuckle of the first hand, first finger, engage through the knuckle of the thumb. Take a couple times to push yourselves back. That is the motion. That is the weight shift that occurs with downward dog. So it's all about using your upper trunk muscles. Now turn your toes under. Let's do a few stretches of the plantar fascia. So push yourself back. Yes, beautiful. Stretch through the arch of the foot. Push yourself back. You're getting the idea of it. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, push yourself back. You've got it. All right. Pull those shoulder blades away from one another. Let's lift these knees now. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, pick the knees up off the mat. Holding here. Now here we go. Deep inhaling in. Exhaling, straightening the knees, lengthening the neck, settle the chin, gaze straight back behind you. Now the final hurrah, take a deep inhale here. Exhale, push into those index fingers and thumbs and try to settle those heels down. Look at the outside of your feet, line them up. All right, staying right here. Keep pushing through those hands. Deep inhale in and exhaling out. Inhale, weight back forward as your knees bend. Exhale, drop your knees down. Take the tops of your feet and place them on the mat. Nice deep inhale here. Exhale, back to child's pose. Rest your wrists, do some circles if you want, but settle yourself back down one last time. Chest onto your knees. Relax your elbows, lengthen the back of your neck, settle the crown of your head to the floor. Deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. You've got it. Now slowly push yourself up into a kneeling position. Turn to your left or your right side, and then allow yourself to lay down on your mat through your side. We like the discs of our low back in therapeutic yoga classes, so we never just pull down into a laying position from sitting straight upright. So in this position, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, make sure your shoulder blades are away from you, make sure your yoga strap is very near you. You're going to need it in just a second. And then once you're there, do a couple tucks and tilts of your pelvis just to kind of think about cat-cow as we make our way down onto our mat. Knees are bent, feet are flat onto the floor. Now, take a nice deep inhale as you lift your right knee towards your chest. And as you exhale, pull that right knee into your chest. Now settle your chin into your throat. Maybe put the tongue onto the roof of your mouth. Take a deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. One more time, guys. Deep inhale in and exhaling out. And then slowly inhaling, dropping the right foot to the floor, exhaling the left knee up and into the chest. Lengthen the neck, settle the chin, tongue to the roof of the mouth. 2 breaths here. Deep inhale into the belly, push it into that thigh, and then exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale into the belly, and exhaling out. You've got it. Taking an inhale here, dropping the left foot down, exhaling, pulling that right knee back into the chest. Now, with the right knee into the chest, just take your left leg and bring it straight down onto the mat. And then take your yoga strap and like stirrups of a horse, take the stirrups of the horse and bring them around the arch of your foot. So not the ball of your foot anymore, just the arch of your foot so that you've got a better hold. And then you can either hold the strap on both sides with both hands, but keep the knee bent and the knee to your chest for a moment here. So just play with how you feel that you can curl your toes over the strap without the strap moving. So that's why I want you to be in the arch of your foot here. So then once you feel like you've got that position, holding onto the strap on both sides, take a nice deep inhale here. And then on the exhale, kick that leg straight out away from you until your knee is straight. Now, it should not be towards the ceiling, because if you've got tension in that sciatic nerve, you're going to be starting too far into that tension. So start with that leg angled pretty close towards the floor. Maybe wrap the straps around your hand if your arms or your hands are weak, but keep that knee straight. Now, in this position, take an inhale and lift your leg up until you find that magical point that if you keep coming further, the knee begins to bend. So we want the leg in a straight position, no tension behind the back of the knee, no tension in the calf at all. So if you think, oh, I know my hamstrings are better than they are, and you have your foot fairly up towards the ceiling and all you're feeling is tension in the back of your knee, ladies and gentlemen, please drop your leg down, because you are not in your hamstring. You are tensioning your sciatic nerve too much. So find the point where your knee is straight and is about to bend, and you do not have too much tension in the back of your knee. All right, we are ready to tackle these hamstrings separately now. So in this position, take both ends of that strap, place them in your right hand. I'm going to loop the strap around my hand just because I want to. Left hand now, place it on the left pelvis. Now really focus on that knee being straight. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, left pelvic bone, push it down into the floor, push your left leg down into the floor as an anchor to secure your pelvis and your low back. Now take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, drop that right leg out to the right. Where does it go for you? Keep the knee straight. Do not let the pelvis rotate. So keep that left pelvic bone straight down on the mat. All right, let's get some great hamstrings here. So take a nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, straighten that knee and see if you can push that heel away from you. One more breath here, deep inhale in, exhale, push that knee away, heel away from you, straighten that knee. You've got it. Now inhale, slowly bring that leg back up, and then exhaling here. Now switching the hands. So take the hands so that the straps are now in the left hand. Right hand, bring it so that you're holding on to your right pelvis. Now you cannot push down into your left leg to anchor this time. So your anchor has to come through your right hand, holding on to your right pelvis bone. Get your knees straight, but not too much tension behind your knee, only in the back of your upper leg. Here we go. Lengthen the neck, settle the chin. Nice deep inhale here. Exhale. Slowly bring that leg across the body. Do not let that pelvis bone lift. This is not a class for your low back. Well, it is indirectly, but this is about your hamstrings. So keep that pelvis down. All right, here's the best part. Are you ready? Inhale, straighten that knee, push your heel away. Goodness, can you feel your hamstrings? Exhaling, relaxing. One more time here. Inhale, straightening that knee, pushing that heel away, and exhaling there. Beautiful. Now, inhale, bring that foot back up into the center position, and exhale, bring your knee to your chest. All right, so just take the loop of the strap, take it away from your right foot. We're not, unfortunately, done with our right leg yet, but just gently place the strap on the mat beside you. And take your hands behind your knee again. We're going to do one last thing with this leg. Remember, I told you our goal today, increase the movement of the hamstring, increase the length of it, but third and most important, Get it to know when it needs to relax and let other muscles contract. So this is yet another way to do that and find length all at the same time. So hands, place them behind your knees so that you're holding on to that hamstring area. Point your toes up towards the ceiling for me. Take a nice deep inhale and gently start to straighten your knee until you get to the point that you feel that tension on the back of your leg. Now, your knees to your chest, so your knee will very likely not be straight right now. Now, here's what I want you to do. Start to straighten your knee as you take your knee away from your chest, but keep holding on to your leg. Can you get to the point that the knee is almost perfectly straight? All right, now here's the hard part. Are you ready? Straighten that knee, hold that leg, brace through your abdominals. Let your hands go of your leg. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, neuromuscular control of that leg. Now it gets even harder. Take that right hand, bring it to the front of that thigh and start to push your hand into your thigh and your thigh into your hand. I surely hope you at home are shaking as much as I am. Take a nice deep inhale in and an exhale out. Oh yeah, one more time. Deep inhale in and exhaling out and release that knee into your chest. Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? All right, left leg, take an inhale, slide it up. Exhale, release the right foot to the floor. Take an inhale, bring that left knee up into your chest. And as you exhale, right leg, slide it down the mat. All right, so we have everything left to do all over again on this left leg. So find your yoga strap or whatever you're using. Bring it around the arch of your foot. Again, work on making sure you can curl your toes under without that strap moving so that it's not in the balls of your toes. And then just get that knee into your chest for a second as you hold the strap with both hands on each side of your knee. All right, let's start here. So give me a nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, kick that leg away from you. Get that knee straight, but have zero tension on your sciatic nerve. So from here, slowly begin to walk up that strap as you straighten that leg. Where is the point that if you go any further, your knee begins to bend? Stop there. So keep a straight leg for this. Now, those of you with tight nervous systems, remember what I said on the right side. Even if with your knee straight here, if all you're feeling is tension on the back of your knee, your sciatic nerve is more tense than the length of your hamstrings. So please drop your leg down more. Not that I don't care about your sciatic nerve, but I'm trying to focus on the length of your hamstrings today. So we want the stretch up in the hamstring muscles, not in the back of the knee. That's indicative of tension in the nerve. All right, let's get started. So take that strap, either wrap it around or hold it alone in that left hand. Right hand comes to the right pelvis. Start to push that right pelvic bone down, engage and push down through your right leg. You'll feel your glutes engage. Left knee is nice and straight here. Take a nice deep inhale, and then on the exhale, bring that leg out to the side. Where can you get to with keeping that leg straight? All right, once you're there, check in that that right pelvis is on the floor. All right, let's have some fun here. So neck long, chin tucked in. Can you inhale and straighten your knee and push your heel away from you? Beautiful. One more time, nice deep inhale. Exhale, straighten that knee and kick that heel away from you. On this inhale, slowly bring the leg back up. Arms are doing the majority of that. And then switch yourself so that you're now holding on to those straps with your right hand. Left hand, the left hand goes to the left pelvis. Take that elbow, push it down into the ground. Remember, your right leg cannot anchor you here. So it's paramount that you pay attention that that left pelvic bone does not lift off the floor. Check in, is your left knee straight? All right, let's go, guys. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Nice deep inhale here. Exhale. Bring that leg across the body. Oh, hello. I love my hamstrings and I love doing this particular stretch. Now, make sure that left pelvis is on the mat. Are you ready for some fun? I guess I can call it fun, right? Take a deep inhale here. Exhale. Straighten that knee. Push that heel away from you. Yes, guys, let's do that one more time. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, straighten that knee, push that heel away from you. Excellent. Inhale, bring it all the way back up. And then as you exhale, bend your knee towards your chest. Take the loop around your strap. Place your strap somewhere away from you. You are done with it. But keep that left knee to your chest. One last hamstring release. But remember, this one is more about motor control and neuromuscular response. So take your hands to the back of your knee, holding onto your hamstrings for me. Make sure that you got your toes pointed up for me. All right, so in this position with the knee to the chest, neck is long, chin is tucked, just take an inhale and start to straighten your leg until you feel where the tension is on the back of your leg. Now, slowly start to straighten the leg away from you. Can you get to the position that you're still holding your leg, but you get your knee straight? All right, here we go. Brace through your abdominals. Make your abdominals nice and hard. And remove your hands away from the leg. You've got it, guys. Okay, ready? Left hand onto the front of that thigh. Start to push into the thigh and the thigh into the hand. There's that beautiful shaking I want. Holding that there. Give me a nice deep inhale and an exhale. That's it, guys. Keep shaking. Nice deep inhale and an exhale. Beautiful. And release. Bring that left knee into your chest. Now, take a nice deep inhale. Slide that right leg up, and then on the exhale, bring that right knee into your chest. Both knees are in your chest right now. Maybe just do a little bit of a rock and roll. Your hamstrings are going to love you for the remainder of this day. I promise you. All right, take a nice deep inhale here. And then on the exhale, really bring those knees into your chest. Relax your ankles, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, baby. Place your tongue on the roof of your mouth and close your eyes for a second. Deep inhale into your belly. And then exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. You've got it. Now, slowly placing the right foot down on the floor, the left foot down on the floor. We are done stretching our hamstrings, but we're going to give one little bit of love to our glutes here. So one bridge is all it takes today. So make sure that you feel like your ankles are somewhere underneath your knees. Your hips are somewhere about hip distance apart. And just gently place your hands on the pelvic area so you can get a nice, good abdominal brace. Now, in this position, start to harden and tighten your abdominal muscles. Get that brace, get that contraction of all of those abdominals to stabilize that spine. Take a nice deep inhale here, and then on the exhale, lift your pelvis just 2 inches. Push your knees forward over your second toes. But squeeze your glutes. Hold it here. Give me a deep inhale in and an exhale. Squeeze them harder. Nice deep inhale in and an exhale. Lower the hips down to the floor. Right knee up to the chest. Left knee up to the chest. One good hug. Deep inhaling in and exhaling out. Very nice. Right leg, let it come all the way down straight onto the mat. Left foot, place it onto the right thigh. Right hand, grab the outside of that left knee, and left hand, bring it out to the side of your body. Take a moment here to take a nice deep inhale. Can you check in that your left pelvis is on the mat right now as you hold that left knee? So make sure you're not starting in a pelvic rotation. And then take a nice deep inhale, and on an exhale, start to pull that left knee to the right. Feel the pelvis lift. Feel that low back lift. Feel that rib cage lift. Lengthen that left arm away from you. Shoulder blade is down. Lengthen your neck. Settle your chin and then turn your gaze towards the left. Now, Keep your body nice and gently here. Give me a deep inhale into your belly. And then exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale into the belly. And then exhaling out. Slowly rotating the head back to the center and starting to de-rotate that spine. Rib cage first, low back second, pelvis third. So you get nice, good spinal control as you do that. Let the hip unrotate, place the left foot on the floor, slide that right leg up, slide that left leg down the mat, and then place that right foot onto the left thigh, left hand up and over to that right knee. And then in this position, gently place that right hand out to the side of the body. Now check in again on this side. Can you feel that your pelvis is still on the floor as you hold on to that right knee? If not, try to pull that pelvis down so that you're not already starting in a spinal twist. All right, here we go. Take a deep inhale in, and as you exhale, right knee to the left, feel the pelvis begin to lift. Low back lifts, rib cage lifts. And then lengthen through that right arm, shoulder blade on the floor. Lengthen and settle your chin into your throat. And then turn your gaze towards your right thumb. Holding into your spinal twist on this side. Taking a deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. One more breath, deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. And then turning your head back to the center, starting at that rib cage, de-rotating rib cage, then low back, then pelvis. And then finally de-rotating that hip, right foot on the floor. Slide that left hip up. It just feels like we need to do one more time, knees to chest. So by golly, let's do it. Take your knees to your chest and give another final rock and roll through that low back, that pelvic area, some through that rib cage. And then when you feel like you're ready, place your right foot on the floor, your left foot on the floor. Pay attention to your pelvic position before you slide your legs down. Make sure you feel like you've got that neutral position. Remember, it's about an inch that your arch of your low back should be off the floor. And then gently let the right heel come to the right corner of the mat, the left heel to the left corner of the mat. Feel like, yep, I am in my sweet spot. I am ready for Savasana. And then gently let your elbows straighten, arms come out to the side of your body. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Here's what I want you to focus on right now. Let your body be still. Don't scratch that itch. Don't move that placement of that arm or leg or trunk or head. If you think that something feels off, just let yourself be. Go to your breath. Feel your inhale. Where do you feel it? You feel it at your nose? Do you feel it at your chest? Do you feel it at your belly? No one of those is correct. Focus on your inhale. Where do you feel it? Then begin to focus on your exhale. Is your exhale just a gentle drop of your belly? Do you feel the exhale through the rib cage, where your rib cage just settles heavier onto the mat? Do you feel the exhale through your nose, where you just feel that hot air coming out? Challenge yourself to not move your body and just pay attention to nothing but the exhale. Now, can you slow your exhale down? Intentionally put focus into it and slow it down. Now take a nice, good swallow. And then start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Circles with those wrists and those ankles. All right, here's what we're doing today. Gently take your arms up overhead. Gently point your feet down away from you. Take a deep inhale. How much can you lengthen through that entire body? And then exhale and relax. You got it, guys. And then slide one leg up, followed by the other. And gently roll over on your left or your right side. Settle there for a moment. And then while you're there, nice deep inhale. And as you're exhaling, bottom elbow, top hand, push yourself up into a seated position. Finding yourself in that easy pose to end class. I hope you have the happiest hamstrings ever today. Hands to heart, smiles on our faces. Take a nice deep inhale here. And exhale. Namaste. The highest in me salutes the highest in you. Thank you for joining me today.